I'm Pete Kamboukos, this is Keith Anderson, and we're your team leaders for the KP Elite team at Exp Realty.
Super excited to talk to you guys about April. It has been crazy over the last year, and we're just trying to keep up with the trends and everything that's happening. It's a big reason why we love coming and sharing all this stuff with you guys, so you guys can keep up with it also. So we have seen absolutely historically low inventory this year, and it just is continuing pace. It is not stopping anytime soon.
I thought it was going to get better.
No, it's basically staying the exact same. It is not really changing. We're just staying really, really low. So we're sitting right around that average of 4,200 active listings, 4,000 or so. And we're staying consistently there since the beginning of the year. Now that's 70% lower than what it was last year the same time. And remember, last year, it was still really low.
We thought that was super low, right?
It is crazy. So we're seeing historically low numbers again. We need that to be more towards that 12,000 range to be what it was last year. And so we're just dramatically lower, and we're seeing the effects of it in the market.
Yeah, which was still, even if we doubled or tripled, it'd still be really low. But yeah, so we have seen, you know, that slight gradual decline in demand. It's been 6 weeks in a row now. So that's kind of a good thing for some people. You know, we're seeing a little bit coming down there, but it's really not making a difference, you know, and it's mainly due because of frustration. There's just no houses out there. Yes, we had a small uptick in the rates, but even those are coming back down at this point. But really, it's just tough to find a house over there. So even with this gradual decline in that demand, even though we've seen it over the last 6 weeks, it's a very slow gradual decline with it, and it's really not making much of a difference. We're still, you know, demand even with that still remains above average, and supply still remains well below average.
And so what that's going to do, like we've seen, is that those prices are going to continue to grow and increase, and at a kind of an uncontrollable rate. Like we've seen them go way higher than expected. At the beginning of the year, we were expecting high rate of appreciation, but we didn't know to what extent. We don't have that crystal ball. But now we're seeing something on pace of 18% appreciation year over year. You guys, that's crazy. Now, Phoenix leads the entire country in market appreciation right now for the greater Phoenix metro. And remember, there's certain pockets of that that's even higher than that. The East Valley, for instance, is even higher than that. And it is continuing to skyrocket in appreciation prices. Great for sellers, and honestly, it's great for new buyers. As they buy a house, the market's continuing to grow, and they're seeing those immediate returns right away.
The law of supply and demand, right? And there is no supply right now, and we've got some demand. So yeah, those prices are going up. So one of the questions I wanted to address, though, is we often get questions about forbearance. Hey, what is that going to do to the supply? Are we going to get a bunch of houses that get dumped on the market when that comes through? So a couple of things with the forbearance. Right now, forbearance has been extended to those folks that need it through the end of June, but there are things in work with the current administration, and a lot of people expect that that'll be extended through the end of the year. I'd say that's probably a decent chance that those forbearances get extended through the end of the year. So that's one part of it. But even still, you know, what we're seeing with those forbearances is the number of people that are in those has been steadily declining over the last few months, which is good news. So there's less and less people that are in those forbearances. People are catching back up, or they're not needing them any longer. So that's great. But even if, you know, that trend stopped and everyone that was in forbearance today and they all got dumped on the market, it still wouldn't make much of a difference. You know, it'd be a drop in the bucket here in our market. Those would quickly get absorbed based on the incredibly low supply I have right now. So to answer some of those questions that we often get, it would make a little bit of a difference, but it's really not going to change the overall picture of what we're looking at this point.
Yeah, and as we've seen demand decline a little bit over time, over the last few weeks, there is still such a strong demand present. So there's still so many people trying to buy a house. It's not that the demand is falling to a point where it's making any massive correction. It's not. It's just
still above normal.
It's still really good demand numbers. And a big reason for that is the interest rates. If the interest rates stay significantly low, which right now we're seeing historically low rates. Anytime you see those rates in the 2s to the 4s, we're talking historically low rates overall. And it's a great time to buy to have that type of an interest rate. So as long as we see that, demand is still going to maintain strength, and we're still going to see a very strong, stable market in that and continuing to grow and grow. Now, there are talks about interest rates being fluctuating and changing over time, but we're still seeing it look like at the end of the year, we're going to still have pretty low rates, and they're going to continue this pace through the remainder of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Fed's not raising the Fed funds rate, and obviously that's not exactly the mortgage rate, but it affects it. And so, yeah, you know, they'll be up, they'll be down a little bit, but overall, it looks like those longer term rates are going to stay low. So what does that mean for, you know, sellers out there? Continue to be a hot market. It's a great time, obviously, to sell. For buyers, this doesn't seem to be letting up anytime really soon. You know, I think it's going to be, you know, a longer grind as the supply comes back slowly. And so, you know, part of what we're seeing out there in the market right now is just like what we mentioned. It's multiple offers, over list price. Appraisal waivers are becoming something that's just much more common now. And so definitely want to be careful when you're out there doing these things. Make sure you have, you know, someone that is knowledgeable in these areas to help you navigate through this, because it is a little bit different market right now. Still fantastic, like you're saying, low interest rates, low supply. But you definitely want to make sure that you've got somebody that knows what they're doing with those parts of it.
Yeah, and we're still seeing other things like new builds continuing to get backed up and slowing down. They're taking longer and longer to get into those houses. Some new builds are even putting estimated completion dates close to 2 years. That's crazy, right?
I've never seen that.
They're trying to catch up. They're trying to fix some of those solutions that we're seeing out there with the lottery system and the things like that for those houses. So be cautious. Have someone there to guide you through that whole process. It's important, especially now more than ever, when it comes to really crazy market that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So awesome, guys. Thanks for joining us for this month. We're super excited to be able to bring you guys these every single month. So look forward to our one next month when we talk about May and everything that's going to go on as we track this market at an unprecedented rate. And be sure to follow us. We have all our videos that go live on at the KP Elite for YouTube. Our podcast is also live through all channels that you can find it, the KP Podcast. And if you have any questions, send them to us at questions@kpeliteaz.com. We'll see you guys next month.
See you guys.